I'm very excited for this. Marc Spears from ESPN, senior NBA writer, also from Anscape, and he's, of course, a basketball Hall of Famer. One of my favorite memories from going and covering my only All-Star weekend that I covered in Salt Lake City was being able to be in the room when Marc was announced as one of the members that was going to be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame that year. Marc, I know that was a big day for you. It was a pleasure to be at least a small part of that myself, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, my friend. How are you?
Man, you got a good memory.
Hey, come on now. I saw my boy up there on stage. I was like, I gotta take a mental screenshot.
You know what? The thing I laugh about that was it was cool. I think I was sitting next to Vince Carter too, because he was had just gotten honored or something like that. But my wife was running late, and somebody from the Hall of Fame was trying to get her in. I think she sat down like 2 minutes before everything started, man. And I'm like trying to get my head right. I knew I had to go up there and say something. Is she going to make it or not? She ended up making it. So
Marc gave a great speech. He got emotional. It was a fun moment, my friend, and I was happy to be there to be able to celebrate with you for that. And, of course, the work hasn't stopped for you. You've continued to hustle over the years since that time, while the Sacramento Kings have unfortunately moved in the wrong direction, culminating into this, whatever this season is for the Kings. First off, before we dive into the weeds of everything, what do you make from just the surface level what this season has been? One of the most talented rosters the Kings have ever had in terms of name value, but one of the worst seasons in the history of Sacramento, Marc.
Well, first, can I give some condolences to Scott Perry? I'm not sure if you guys know this. His mother recently passed away.
Oh.
And so Scott took an early flight out this morning to Detroit. His mother Maxine, will be laid to rest on Saturday in Detroit. No. So, Scott's going to be away from the team for a couple days. Amazing lady. She was a journalist. And obviously, you know the story of his father, his late father, who worked for the Steelers as a scout, was the first African-American scout in NFL history. Assistant coach. In NFL history, and certainly why he's connected to the Steelers like he is. But, first of all, shout out to or condolences to Scott, man, and Kim and their family. And just kind of going back to Scott, I talked to Vivek and for a quick minute yesterday, and I think with Scott, there's a foundation being built, right? And when you bring in a new general manager, a lot of times there's going to be some growing pains. So, yes, I think you're right. There is a lot of talent there. But then there's this mix of, trying to bring the youth up, right, the youth movement. Then, you got to mention Domas being injured, right, and just ravaged by injuries. And Keegan, I don't even know that when's the last time Keegan played?
It's been a few weeks.
Yeah. And so, the best thing a team could be is healthy. And so when you have two starters like that missing this high amount of games with some new additions, some guys relatively new, I just think it's really hard to succeed because you just haven't had any unity, camaraderie. How many different starting lineups have they had? And then it's like, let's Maxine right now is not bad. Let's check him out. Let's check out some of these young guys. So I think that those two major injuries have had a huge impact on a lot of the lack of success. But I do think that with Scott, and I've known Scott for 30 years. I first met him, and Matt, I'm rambling on, so tell me when to shut up.
Please go away.
Yeah, no, Scott was, believe it or not, a head coach at Eastern Kentucky University. And about a year or two before I started covering the NBA, one of my jobs was I was a writer for the Courier in Louisville, Kentucky, and my job was as a general assignment reporter was to be generally assigned to do whatever the hell they wanted me to do. And one of my assignments was to write a story on this coach named Scott Perry, who had the saddest office I've ever seen in my life. Man. It just had 4 white walls with nothing on it. Nothing said short time or more than this guy's office, right? But now in his office now, he has this beautiful painting that his wife got made for him, where it lists his 6 principles as to, what he wants from the franchise. And I expect him to make some moves, try at least to make some moves during the trade deadline. I think this is going to be a slow build, which I don't know if Kings fans want to hear this, but in order to have a strong house, you have to have a strong foundation. And to me, just putting Band-Aids on the team, getting the play-in, maybe getting a late seed, I think the Kings could have continued to do that. But I think Scott would rather build a foundation and try to build us into a championship contender rather than somebody that just teases you from season to season.
We've got the great Marc Spears on. We're talking NBA. We're talking Sacramento Kings. Marc, you had mentioned your relationship with Scott Perry. I know you talk with, GMs every single week. There's been this long kind of storyline here of Keon Ellis not getting time, DMPs, all of that stuff. How much does sometimes come down to a new general manager coming into an organization and simply kind of knowing what their types are and knowing what they're going to do in terms of building their future?
Well, Scott ain't coaching the team.
Yeah.
I know he's high on Keon, and that to me is a Doug Christie decision whether or not Keon plays. But it's interesting because when I hear the trade talk and you constantly hear that name, right? How sold am I on Keon? I've got to see a little bit more of him. I know he's a fan favorite. I know the fans there love him and think highly of him. I know his story, and but I just think right now it's, especially when you're trying to win, when you're coaching that position, you're probably gonna lean on a lot of the veterans a lot more, right? You're gonna lean on Zach. You're gonna lean on Russ, and it's certainly unfortunate for him. But then I guess you got to ask yourself, is he better than the vets that are playing in front of him? And so that's probably the question to be answered there. And I'm not sure that he is. I'm not sure that he isn't, but when you're in a tough spot like the Kings are, sometimes you go with the vets that you trust rather than the young guys still trying to figure it out.
Marc, you alluded to earlier, Marc Spears, senior NBA writer for ESPN and Anscape, joining us here on Matt and Kayla. You alluded to earlier the Kings would like to make some moves and hopefully some...
man. Wait. Shout out to you. And one thing that bothers me about sports radio is there's not enough, women that are involved in these shows.
Yeah.
And the fact that you added Kayla on this show, I think that's fantastic. Kayla, keep rising. I want to see more of you on these airways, and not just the male perspective on this. And so shout out to you and the hoops you've gone through to be in this position.
Marc, she carries me, Marc. She's doing all the heavy lifting. I'm just here to get us in and out of breaks. She's the substance of the show.
Because if you look at Bay Area sports, there's no women on the airwaves.
Yeah.
It's truly sad. So I'm glad to hear your voice, but continue. I'm sorry.
Appreciate you, Marc.
Thank you, Marc. Well, she and I are both chomping at the bit. Kayla and I are both chomping at the bit to see what kind of trades that that the Sacramento Kings may make or Scott Perry may be able to make. It sounds like there is a significant interest around Keon Ellis for around the league for Keon in a potential trade, but we know that there are some veterans on this roster, like a Demar DeRozan potentially, that the Sacramento Kings are shopping or trying to move on from just to start this rebuild and free up some playing time for some of the younger guys. Have you heard any rumblings or have any kind of indication of guys who are more likely to be moved, less likely to be moved?
Well, the name I keep wondering about with Sacramento is the sexy name, right? Jonathan Kuminga.
Yep.
And then if you're a Kings fan, right, you see Kaminga come in, and score 20 in 19 minutes.
Yeah.
You're like, come on, Scott, figure this out, man, because you can imagine him and Keegan next to each other in terms of building these pieces for the future. When you build those pieces for the future, obviously you got to trade some vets to make that happen. And if the Warriors, if I might be wrong, put your stat guy on this, I don't think the Warriors and the Kings have made a trade since '92.
It's been a while, I can tell you that much. I don't know about the specific date.
Was the last trade Mitch for Billy Owens, and which worked out for the Kings, and I actually thought Billy Owens was going to be a superstar. I was wrong, but Mitch certainly was. And but I just think that if it's up to Kaminga, he would love to be in Sacramento. And when you're going through a rebuilding phase like Sacramento is, you want players that want to be there. You want players that are excited to be there. You want players that want to light the beam, not just,
Uh-oh, did we lose Marc? Marc is Marc. Oh, we got you.
Can you hear me?
I got you. We got you back.
Yeah. No, I mean, Kaminga's a guy you want because he's also a guy that wants to be there. And it's, when you're rebuilding, it's hard to find players that want to be in rebuilding situations. He wants to be there. Scott had met with him in Miami for an hour and a half. I'm still kind of intrigued by the Warriors allowing that to happen. And they built a really interesting connection. And, I've been around Kaminga since his days, playing for the G League Ignite. He's a great kid, man. He's not a kid. He's a man. He got 2 daughters. Great young man. I think he's a big coach. I don't know what the disconnect is. I'm trying to figure it out. Might need to get Sherlock Holmes involved to figure this out. But, it's just a bad fit for the Warriors. But he makes things happen on the floor. He's young, still going to grow. And the question now is with Jimmy Butler being lost, would it make sense for the Warriors to try to go bigger? Like before, it was like Malik Monk, but they're loaded with guards. I don't think they need another guard. They need big. They need a small forward now. And I just think that they're at the point of no return with Kaminga. He doesn't want to be there. He certainly would prefer to be moved. He's going to be a professional. But I don't think there's any kumbaya in this. So I wonder if the Warriors, who are going to use these next couple of weeks before the February 5th, 6th deadline,
yep,
to push a button and see what the best trade is out there. To me, DeRozan would make sense. Mm-hmm. The Warriors have not wanted to add salary beyond this year, but if Jimmy's going to be out the rest of this year, and who knows how long next season, to me, you could plug and play a guy like DeRozan in and still have a competitive team, potentially make some moves. I do get the sense that they want to make the best of Stephen Curry's remaining years. So I don't think that keeping disgruntled Kaminga is going to make that happen. I really think whether it's DeRozan, whether it's Michael Porter Jr., whether it's, somebody from Dallas or Wiggins, they got to do something. They got to do something with Kaminga. But keep an eye on whether Scott and the Warriors can, kind of figure that out. And I'll tell you what, Kaminga would be so happy. He might walk down 80 to Sacramento to get there.
Great NBA writer Marc Spears joining us on the Matt and Kayla Show. You brought up DeMar DeRozan's name, and man, I love this guy. He's such a pro. He's been so consistent for the Kings. I just know he's not probably on the long-term, future list here, but why are we not seeing other teams right now have interest in him, or is that just the landscape of, what's going on right now in the NBA?
I guess we'll see, right? We'll have, 2 weeks in which we'll see who really loves somebody, right? This is where the truth is told in these next couple of weeks. And I'm with you on DeMar. He's a pro. he shows up every night. He plays hard. Is he the greatest defender in the world? Maybe not. Maybe that might be part of the knock on him. Certainly, he's getting older, but he's available. He doesn't miss a lot of games. I'm a big fan of his as a person too. Just a great guy, and he's going to go in your locker room and be professional and want to win. I think he enjoys being in California. He's a solid pickup for the Kings, but it just, obviously things haven't quite worked out of franchise, and he is hoped. And to me, when you have assets like Levine and Sabonis and DeRozan, and I think you should, if I don't know if Scott could master a major overhaul in a 2-week span, but if there's young players and assets to be gained, I say push the button and go do it. If you could get Kaminga, go do it. If there's some other young talent and picks to receive, go do it. And you guys have your pick, right? 26?
They got all of them. They own all their picks.
I mean, this is an amazing draft, not just 1, 2, 3, and 4, but, going down to 10. So, I mean, I'm not saying to tank, but this could be another great draft to get a young player. So if you got a Reynaud and Keegan and a Kaminga and, another young player out of what's going to be is an amazing draft, and who knows, you might go around and get 1, 2, 3, or 4. Like, you start building yourself like Oklahoma City has done and like Detroit has done, and like those are the teams that I think the Kings should pattern themselves after, and I think that's what Scott's trying to do. So I'm really, really curious to see if there's not just one, but maybe a couple interesting splashes by the Kings by the time the trade deadline hits.
Marc, you are the definition of hustle, my man. You bounce all over the country, including being in Sacramento for the game last night, my man. Thank you so much for taking the time. Best of luck wherever you're heading next. I hope we can make this a regular occurrence, and let's do this again soon.
Yeah, no, I'm on my way to Kendall Jackson
Winery.
by Dave. Well, I'm a wine ambassador for Kendall Jackson, so I'm going to meet with some folks there. I'm doing a Zoom with LSU students. Got my master's at LSU at 1. Santa Rosa JC's at 3:30. So
man, I tell you, he's hustling. Well, Marc, we'll let you go and get to it, and hopefully we'll see you very, very soon. Have a great one, and good luck the next of the season. Until next time.
All right, now y'all take care.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Marc.
What a treat having Marc Spears here on the airwaves with us. Some very interesting stuff to take away from that. We will react to that. Plus, we'll talk about some of these veterans that may or may not be traded, and what do the Kings do if they're not traded. That's all still to come right here on Sactown Sports.